Commander Marcus Riley rubbed his tired eyes as he stared at the strange signals dancing across his computer screen. The deep space station Omega had been his home for 3 years now, floating in the cold darkness between Earth and Mars. Most days were boring, filled with checking old satellites and listening to empty space. But today was different. "Sir, you need to see this," said Lieutenant Emma Foster, her voice shaking with excitement. She was young, barely 25, with bright red hair and green eyes that sparkled when she found something interesting. Today, those eyes were wide with amazement. Marcus walked over to her station, his boots making soft sounds on the metal floor. The space station was quiet except for the gentle hum of machines keeping them alive. Through the big windows, he could see Earth spinning slowly in the distance, blue and beautiful. "What do you have, Foster?" he asked, looking at her screen. Strange symbols and numbers were moving across it like a waterfall of alien text. "It's a message, sir. From space. Deep space. Really, really deep space." Emma's fingers moved quickly over her keyboard. "It took 8 months to reach us, traveling at the speed of light. That means whoever sent it is incredibly far away." Marcus felt his heart beat faster. In all his years working in space, he had never seen anything like this. Earth had been sending radio signals and messages into space for decades, hoping to find other life. But this was the first time something had answered back. "Can you understand it?" he asked. Emma nodded, her face serious now. "The computer has been working on it for hours. The aliens who sent this are very smart. They included pictures and numbers to help us translate their language. Sir, I think you should sit down for this." Marcus pulled up a chair and sat next to her. The main screen in front of them flickered and changed. Suddenly, he was looking at something that made his stomach drop. The image showed a planet burning. Cities were on fire, and strange black ships filled the sky like angry insects. The picture changed, showing tall, graceful creatures with blue skin and large, sad eyes. They looked peaceful and kind, not like warriors at all. "These are the Zephyrians," Emma explained, her voice soft. "They live far away from here, in a place called the Kepler sector. They are peaceful people who love science and art. They have never hurt anyone." The image changed again. This time it showed horrible creatures that looked like giant bugs walking on 2 legs. They had sharp claws and teeth, and their eyes were cold and mean. They carried weapons that could destroy entire buildings. "And these are the Krillians," Emma continued. "They are attacking the Zephyrians. They have already destroyed 7 planets. The Zephyrians are asking for help." Marcus stared at the screen in shock. "They sent this message to us? To Earth?" "Not just to us, sir. They sent it everywhere, to anyone who might listen. Most of the galaxy has ignored them. The other alien races are either too scared of the Krillians or they just don't care about helping strangers." The message played again, and this time Marcus could hear the translated words. The voice was beautiful and sad, like someone singing a song about lost hope. "Please, anyone who can hear this message, we beg for your help. We are the Zephyrian Collective, and we are dying. The Krillian horde has taken our worlds one by one. We have tried to run, but they are faster. We have tried to hide, but they always find us. We are not fighters. We are teachers and artists and scientists. We do not know how to make war. If there is anyone out there who still believes in helping others, please come. We will share all our knowledge with you. We will give you anything we have. We just want our children to live." The message ended, and the room fell silent. Marcus felt something burning in his chest, a feeling he had not experienced since he was a young soldier. It was anger mixed with determination, the same feeling that had made him want to protect people who couldn't protect themselves. "How long ago did they send this?" he asked. 8 months, sir. But the message says their situation is getting worse every day. By now, the Krillians might be attacking their home planet." Marcus stood up and walked to the window, looking out at the stars. Somewhere out there, people were dying while the galaxy watched and did nothing. It reminded him of old stories from Earth, when bad people hurt good people and everyone else was too scared to help. "Sir," Emma said quietly, "what should we do?" Marcus turned around and looked at her. Then he looked at the other workers in the station, all of them staring at him and waiting for his decision. These people had never seen real war. Earth had been peaceful for 50 years. They had only recently learned how to travel faster than light. Compared to the other aliens in the galaxy, humans were still babies learning to walk. But Marcus remembered something his grandfather had told him long ago. His grandfather had been a soldier in the old wars on Earth, fighting against people who wanted to hurt innocent families. He had said that it doesn't matter how big or strong you are. What matters is whether you help when someone calls for help. Marcus walked over to the communication station and pressed a button. This is Commander Marcus Riley of Deep Space Station Omega, calling Earth Command. Priority Alpha message. We have received a distress call from an alien civilization under attack. They need our help, and I'm recommending we give it to them. He looked around the room at his team, seeing hope and fear mixed in their eyes. Contact Captain James Mitchell. Tell him to prepare the fleet. We're going to show the galaxy what humans do when someone asks for help. 3 weeks later, Captain James Mitchell stood on the bridge of the biggest spaceship Earth had ever built. The UES Vela was as long as 3 city blocks and filled with the best technology humans could make. But looking out at the 12 other ships flying beside him, James felt very small. "Sir, we're about to leave our solar system," said his pilot, Lieutenant Tom Bradley. Tom was only 30 years old, but he was the best pilot Earth had. His hands moved carefully over the controls as they prepared for the jump to light speed. James nodded and pressed a button on his chair. "This is Captain Mitchell to all ships. In 30 seconds, we will jump to the Kepler sector. This will be the longest trip any human has ever taken. We're going to help people we've never met, in a place we've never seen. Remember why we're doing this." Behind him, Admiral Rebecca Stone watched quietly. She was the smartest military leader on Earth, with gray hair and sharp blue eyes that missed nothing. The Earth government had put her in charge of this mission, even though many people thought it was too dangerous. "All ships ready, sir," reported Communications Officer David Park. He was a thin man with thick glasses who could speak 12 different languages. Now he was learning to speak to aliens. "Jump," James ordered. The stars outside the window suddenly stretched into long white lines. For a moment, James felt like he was falling through a tunnel made of light. Then everything went back to normal, except now the stars were completely different. "Jump successful, sir," Tom announced. "We're now in the Kepler sector. The Zephyrian home planet should be." He stopped talking and stared at his screen. "Sir, you need to see this." The main window filled with a picture that made everyone on the bridge go quiet. In front of them was a beautiful blue and green planet, just like Earth. But surrounding it were hundreds of dark, ugly spaceships shaped like giant beetles. Even from far away, James could see explosions on the planet's surface. "The Krillians," Admiral Stone said quietly. "We're too late. They're already attacking." Suddenly, the radio crackled to life. A voice spoke in a language that sounded like singing, but the computer quickly translated it into English. "Unknown ships, this is Zephyria Prime Control. Please identify yourselves. Are you here to help us?" David pressed a button and spoke into his microphone. "Zephyria Prime, this is the United Earth Fleet. We received your distress call and came to help." There was a long silence. Then the voice came back, and James could hear crying in the background. "Earth Fleet? We sent that message to everyone. No one answered. We thought we were going to die alone." Admiral Stone stepped forward and took the microphone. "This is Admiral Rebecca Stone. We're here now, and we're not leaving until you're safe. Can you tell us your situation?" The screen flickered, and suddenly they were looking at an alien face. It was beautiful in a strange way, with blue skin that seemed to glow softly and large, kind eyes filled with tears. This was their first time seeing a real alien, and everyone on the bridge stared in amazement. "I am Counselor Lyrian," the alien said. "I speak for what remains of our government. The Krillians have destroyed 7 of our 12 worlds. We have been trying to evacuate our people, but their ships are faster than ours. In 2 days, maybe 3, they will break through our shields and land on our planet." "How many people live on your world?" Stone asked. 8 million. We have managed to save only 500,000. The rest?" Lyrian's voice broke. "The rest will die if we cannot stop them." James felt anger burning in his chest. These peaceful aliens were about to be destroyed by bullies, just because they couldn't fight back. It reminded him of school playgrounds, where big kids picked on smaller ones while everyone else watched. "Counselor Lyrian," James said, stepping up to the microphone. "I'm Captain James Mitchell. My ships might not be as advanced as yours or theirs, but we know how to fight. Will you let us help you?" Lyrian looked surprised. "But, you are from a world we have never heard of. Why would you risk your lives for strangers?" James smiled. "Because that's what humans do. We help people who need help." Behind him, Admiral Stone was already giving orders to the other ships. "Colonel Hayes, prepare your fighters for combat. Dr. Wright, get ready to help with evacuations. All ships, battle stations." Through the window, James could see the Krillian ships starting to move toward them. They were bigger than the human ships and covered in sharp spikes that made them look like flying weapons. But James wasn't afraid. Humans had been fighting bullies for thousands of years. "Sir," Tom called out. "The Krillian ships are sending us a message." "Put it on screen," Admiral Stone ordered. The alien face that appeared was nothing like Lyrian's kind features. This creature looked like a giant bug with razor-sharp teeth and cold, black eyes. When it spoke, its voice sounded like metal scraping against stone. "Unknown ships, you will leave this system immediately. These worlds belong to the Krillian Horde. We do not wish to destroy you, but we will if you interfere." James looked at Admiral Stone, who nodded. He pressed the communication button. "This is Captain Mitchell of the United Earth Fleet. We're here to help the Zephyrians. If you want to hurt them, you'll have to go through us first." The Krillian's face twisted with anger. "Foolish creatures. You know nothing of war. We have conquered 100 worlds. We will add your ships to our collection of trophies." "Maybe," James said calmly. "But you've never fought humans before. You might be surprised." The communication ended, and the Krillian ships began moving faster toward the human fleet. "All ships," Admiral Stone announced over the radio. "This is it. Let's show them what Earth is made of." The first battle began 15 minutes later, and it was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The Krillian ships moved forward in perfect straight lines, just like they always did. For 1,000 years, they had conquered worlds using the same plan: charge forward with overwhelming force and crush anyone who stood in their way. It had worked against every species they had ever fought. But humans were different. "Phoenix Squadron, break apart and scatter," ordered Colonel Andrew Hayes from his fighter ship. "Don't let them group us together." The 12 human fighter ships suddenly flew in different directions, confusing the Krillians completely. The bug-like aliens had expected the humans to form neat battle lines, just like every other species did. Instead, the human ships darted around like angry wasps, attacking from every possible angle. Captain James Mitchell watched from the Valus Bridge as his pilots did things that made no sense to military experts. Lieutenant Sarah Connor flew her ship upside down while shooting at enemies. Pilot Marcus Webb used a broken asteroid as a shield, hiding behind it before jumping out to surprise a Krillian ship. "Sir, the enemy ships are having trouble keeping up with our fighters," reported Tom Bradley, grinning as he watched the battle. "They keep trying to follow one ship, but then another one attacks them from behind." On the Krillian command ship, Warlord Thexus stared at his battle screens in confusion. His black eyes, cold as winter ice, narrowed as he watched these strange new enemies. "What are they doing?" he growled to his officers. "Why don't they fight properly?" His second-in-command, General Vex, was equally puzzled. "Sir, they seem to have no plan at all. They attack randomly, retreat when they should advance, and advance when they should retreat. It makes no sense." But the human tactics were working. 3 Krillian ships were already damaged, while the human fighters danced around them like they were playing a deadly game. Down on the planet's surface, Marine Captain Lisa Thompson and her team had landed near the Zephyrian capital city. The aliens who met them were tall and graceful, with skin that glowed softly blue in the sunlight. But what surprised Lisa most was how gentle they seemed. "Welcome, warriors of Earth," said a Zephyrian scientist named Dr. Kalin. "We are grateful beyond words that you came to help us." Lisa looked around at the beautiful city, with its tall crystal buildings and floating gardens. Everything was designed for peace and beauty, not for war. She could see why these people couldn't fight the Krillians. "Dr. Kalin, we need to teach your people how to defend themselves," Lisa said. "Do you have any weapons?" The alien looked confused. "Weapons? We have tools for building and healing. We have machines for studying the stars. But we have never made anything designed to hurt others." Lisa's sergeant, a tough woman named Kelly Anderson, whistled in amazement. "Captain, look at this energy shield generator. It's more advanced than anything we have on Earth." Lisa examined the device, which was about the size of a car and hummed with power. "This creates a force field that can stop anything, right?" "Yes," Dr. Kalin said proudly. "We use them to protect our buildings from storms and meteor strikes." "What if we change the frequency?" Lisa asked, her mind racing with possibilities. Instead of just blocking things, what if it could disrupt electronic systems? Dr. Kalin's large eyes went wide. "You mean, use our protective technology to damage their ships?" "Exactly. Your technology is amazing, but you're using it all wrong for fighting. You've been thinking like scientists, not soldiers." Over the next few hours, Lisa and her team worked with the Zephyrians to turn their peaceful inventions into weapons of war. Their medical scanners became early warning systems that could detect Krillian movements from miles away. Their construction tools became weapons that could cut through the enemy's armor. The Zephyrians watched in amazement and horror as the humans showed them military uses for everything they had built. Your communication system, explained Corporal Robert Hayes, can be used to jam their radio signals. Your weather control satellites can create storms to confuse their ships. Even your street lights can be modified to blind their senses. Dr. Kalin translated everything for the other Zephyrian scientists. They spoke in their musical language, their voices filled with wonder and concern. They are amazed, Dr. Kalin told Lisa. But also frightened. We had never imagined that our tools for creating life could be used to take life. Sometimes, Lisa said gently, you have to fight to protect the things you love. Meanwhile, up in space, the battle was getting more intense. The Krillians had called for more ships, and now there were 50 enemy vessels surrounding the human fleet. But Captain Mitchell had a surprise for them. All ships, activate the Zephyrian upgrades, he ordered. Dr. Helen Wright, Earth's best scientist, had spent the last few hours working with Zephyrian engineers. Together, they had combined human weapons with alien technology in ways that shouldn't have been possible. The UES Valus main cannon, now powered by a Zephyrian energy core, fired a beam of pure light that cut through 3 Krillian ships like they were made of paper. The other human ships opened fire with weapons that the enemy had never seen before. On the Krillian command ship, Warlord Thexus roared in fury. Impossible. How are they doing this? Their ships were weaker than ours. Sir, General Vex reported, his voice shaking, they have somehow combined their technology with Zephyrian science. The energy signatures are completely different from anything in our databases. And their fighting style, added another officer, it's like they enjoy chaos. They seem to get stronger when things become more confusing. Thexus stared at the battle screens, watching his ship struggle against an enemy that refused to follow the rules of war. These humans fought like they were having fun, laughing and shouting as they destroyed his carefully organized battle formations. For the first time in his long military career, Warlord Thexus felt something he had never experienced before, doubt. 2 weeks after the first battle, Major Robert Collins crept through the dark corridors of a Krillian supply ship. Behind him, 3 human soldiers and 2 Zephyrian scientists moved as quietly as shadows. They were deep behind enemy lines, doing something that should have been impossible. Remember, whispered Dr. Vera, one of the Zephyrian scientists, the phase shift device will only work for 10 more minutes. Robert nodded, still amazed by the alien technology. The Zephyrians had invented the phase shifter to walk through solid walls during construction projects. But humans had found a military use for it, as they did with everything else. Sergeant Kelly Anderson, moving beside him, grinned in the darkness. I love being a ghost, she whispered. These bugheads can't even see us. They were inside the biggest Krillian supply ship, invisible to all sensors and cameras. The Krillians had no idea that enemies were walking right through their walls, stealing their plans and sabotaging their equipment. There, Dr. Vera pointed to a massive computer terminal. That controls their entire supply network for this sector. Robert pulled out a small device that Dr. Helen Wright had designed. It looked like a regular computer chip, but it contained both human virus programming and Zephyrian quantum technology. When he plugged it into the alien computer, it would spread chaos throughout their entire fleet. 30 seconds, he told his team. The device hummed as it worked, copying and corrupting every piece of data it could find. Suddenly, alarms began blaring throughout the ship. Red lights flashed as Krillian soldiers ran through the corridors, searching for intruders they couldn't see. Time to go, Robert said. They ran back toward their entry point, still invisible but moving fast as the phase shift device began to fail. Behind them, the Krillian supply network crashed. Ships began running out of fuel, weapons stopped working, and food deliveries got sent to the wrong planets. The perfectly organized horde suddenly couldn't find anything they needed. Back on Zephyria Prime, Captain Lisa Thompson watched with pride as her former students put their new skills to use. The Zephyrians had learned to fight like humans, and they were getting very good at it. Dr. Kalin, your people have done amazing work, she told the alien scientist as they watched a group of Zephyrian civilians setting up an ambush. The peaceful aliens had transformed their beautiful city into a fortress. Their art museums now housed weapon factories. Their schools had become training centers. Their hospitals treated both Zephyrian and human wounded with equal care. But the biggest change was in the Zephyrians themselves. They no longer looked helpless and afraid. Working alongside humans had given them something they had never had before: hope. Captain Thompson, Dr. Kalin said, "Before you came, we thought fighting meant becoming monsters like the Krillians. You showed us that we can fight to protect what we love without losing who we are." A young Zephyrian named Lyra ran up to them, her blue skin glowing with excitement. "The trap is ready. The Krillian ground forces are walking right into it." Lisa smiled. 3 weeks ago, Lyra had been an art student who had never hurt anyone. Now she was leading guerrilla attacks against enemy soldiers twice her size. The Krillian patrol marched through what they thought was an empty street. They moved in perfect formation, their black armor shining in the sunlight. These soldiers had conquered dozens of worlds using fear and overwhelming force. They never saw the attack coming. Zephyrian fighters emerged from hidden positions, using weapons that combine human tactics with alien science. Modified construction tools cut through Krillian armor like it was paper. Their own energy shields, reprogrammed by human engineers, trapped the enemy soldiers in energy cages. The most shocking part was that the Zephyrians were winning. In space, Admiral Rebecca Stone coordinated the biggest joint operation in human history. Her fleet now worked perfectly with Zephyrian ships, creating a fighting force that confused and terrified the Krillian horde. "All ships, begin the final phase," she ordered from the bridge of the UES Vela. The plan was complex and dangerous, exactly the kind of strategy humans loved. Half the fleet would attack the Krillian main force head-on, drawing their attention. Meanwhile, the other half would use Zephyrian stealth technology to sneak behind enemy lines. Captain James Mitchell led the direct assault, his ship diving straight toward the enemy fleet like a hawk attacking prey. The Krillians, expecting another confusing human attack, prepared their defenses. They were right about the confusion, but wrong about everything else. "Now!" Mitchell shouted. The human ships suddenly split apart and regrouped in patterns that made no sense to military experts. They flew in spirals, loops, and figure eights while shooting at enemies from impossible angles. Behind the Krillian fleet, Admiral Stone's stealth force appeared like ghosts. Their ships, covered with Zephyrian invisibility fields, opened fire on the enemy's unprotected rear. Warlord Thexus watched his battle plans crumble in real time. On his command ship's bridge, warning lights flashed as reports came in from across his fleet. "Sir, we've lost contact with Supply Fleet 7, reported one officer. "Sir, the ground forces on Zephyria Prime are requesting immediate evacuation," said another. "Sir, our main battle computers have been infected with some kind of virus," added a third. Thexus stared at the tactical display, watching his ships flee from an enemy that fought like madmen. These humans didn't just want to win battles, they seemed to enjoy turning war into art. "General Vex," he growled, "how many ships have we lost?" 47, sir. And the humans haven't lost a single vessel." For the first time in 1,000 years, a Krillian warlord considered the impossible: retreat. "Sir," his communications officer called out, "the human admiral is sending us a message." Admiral Stone's face appeared on the screen, calm and confident. "Warlord Thexus, this is your final warning. Leave Zephyrian space now, or we'll show you what humans do to bullies who don't learn their lesson." Thexus looked around his bridge at his frightened officers, then back at the tactical display showing his scattered, confused fleet. The tide had turned, and for the first time, the Krillian horde was losing. The final battle began at dawn on Zephyria Prime, with the biggest space fight the galaxy had ever seen. Admiral Rebecca Stone stood on the bridge of the UES Vela, watching hundreds of ships move into position like pieces on a giant chessboard. "All human ships, take your positions," she ordered into her microphone. "All Zephyrian vessels, prepare to show these bullies what we've learned together." Captain James Mitchell, now commanding a mixed fleet of human and Zephyrian ships, felt his heart racing with excitement. The past month of fighting alongside the peaceful aliens had taught both species something amazing. They were stronger together than either could ever be alone. "Counselor Lyrian, are your people ready?" he asked the Zephyrian leader, whose face appeared on his communication screen. The blue-skinned alien, who had once seemed so helpless and afraid, now looked determined and confident. "Captain Mitchell, we are ready. Your people have shown us that fighting for what you love is not the same as becoming what you hate." Through the bridge windows, James could see the Krillian fleet gathering for what their warlord believed would be the final attack. Thexus had called every ship in the sector to destroy these troublesome humans and their new Zephyrian allies. The enemy had 300 ships. The human-Zephyrian alliance had only 80. But numbers had never mattered much to humans. "Begin Operation Starfall," Admiral Stone commanded. What happened next became legend throughout the galaxy. The human ships, powered by Zephyrian energy cores, moved faster than anything the Krillians had ever seen. The Zephyrian vessels, equipped with human weapons and tactics, fought with a fury that amazed their enemies. But the real surprise was how perfectly the two species worked together. Major Robert Collins, flying a modified fighter that combined human engineering with Zephyrian science, dove between two massive Krillian battleships. Behind him, a Zephyrian pilot named Kel followed in perfect formation, their ships moving like they shared the same mind. "Now, Kel," Robert shouted over the radio. Both ships fired at the same instant. Robert's human missiles punched holes in the enemy's armor, while Kel's Zephyrian energy weapons poured through those holes like liquid fire. The Krillian ship exploded in a shower of sparks and metal. On the planet's surface, Captain Lisa Thompson led a final assault against the Krillian ground forces. Beside her, Dr. Kalin carried a weapon he had designed himself, a tool that could heal or harm, depending on how it was used. "Remember," Lisa told the mixed group of human soldiers and Zephyrian fighters, "we're not fighting to destroy them. We're fighting to save everyone they're trying to hurt." The battle raged through the Crystal City streets. Zephyrian civilians, no longer helpless, used their knowledge of the city's layout to guide human soldiers through secret passages. Human engineers worked with alien scientists to turn everyday objects into weapons. Sergeant Kelly Anderson found herself fighting alongside Lyra, the young Zephyrian who had once been just an art student. Together, they cornered a group of Krillian soldiers in a beautiful garden. "Surrender," Kelly called out in the Krillian language, which she had learned from captured prisoners. "Your fleet is losing. Your warlord is retreating. There's no shame in giving up." The Krillian soldiers, exhausted and confused, slowly put down their weapons. For the first time in their lives, they were being offered mercy instead of destruction. Up in space, the final act was playing out on the bridge of Warlord Thexus's command ship. The proud Krillian leader watched his screens in disbelief as his fleet fell apart around him. "Sir, we've lost 2/3 of our ships," General Vex reported, his voice shaking with fear and shame. "How is this possible?" Thexus roared. "We outnumber them 4-1. "Sir," another officer said quietly, "I think that's the problem. We've been fighting them like they're just another species. But they're not. The humans fight like they enjoy it, and they've taught the Zephyrians to do the same." On the main screen, Admiral Stone's face appeared again. But this time, she wasn't alone. Counselor Lyrian stood beside her, along with Captain Mitchell and several other leaders from both species. "Warlord Thexus," Admiral Stone said calmly, "this is your last chance. Surrender now, and we'll let your ships leave in peace. Keep fighting, and we'll show you what happens when humans get really angry." Thexus looked around his bridge at his frightened officers, then back at the tactical display. His fleet was scattered and broken. His ground forces were surrendering. His supply lines had been destroyed by human saboteurs. For the first time in 1,000 years, the Krillian horde was completely defeated. "We," Thexus began, the words sticking in his throat like poison. "We surrender." 6 months later, Admiral Stone stood in the Great Hall of the Galactic Council, a building so vast that entire cities could fit inside it. Representatives from hundreds of alien species watched as she accepted Earth's invitation to join the galactic community. "The human species," announced the council speaker, a wise old alien with silver skin, "has shown qualities we have not seen in 1,000 years. They traveled across the void to help strangers. They fought against impossible odds to save the innocent. We welcome Earth to the Galactic Council." But even as the ceremony continued, Stone's attention was focused on her assistant, Lieutenant Emma Foster, who was reading reports from a small device. "Admiral," Emma whispered, "we're receiving new distress calls. 17 different species are asking specifically for human help. The Altair colonies are under attack by space pirates. The vegan system is facing a plague. The Centauri rebels need assistance against their oppressive government." Stone looked out through the council hall's massive windows at the stars beyond. Each point of light represented thousands of worlds, millions of people who might need help someday. "Contact Earth Command," she said quietly. "Tell them to prepare the largest fleet we've ever built. It looks like the galaxy has finally learned what humans do when someone calls for help." Behind her, Counselor Lyrian smiled. The universe would never be the same now that humanity had answered that first distress call, showing everyone that sometimes, the best response to darkness was simply to turn on the light.